Hi guys! Today we are going to do some GreenStalk refresh and strawberry rejuvenation. Get them ready for the spring. They're about to come out of dormancy. Some probably have already started to do it. So we want to make sure that they are ready to go. We need to add some fresh potting soil. We need to add a little bit of balanced fertilizer. I'm going to use a Spoma garden tone. It's a 344. You could use berry tone or holly tone. They're all basically made the same way. So it's just a matter of what you have available and what is not the most expensive. I found a 27-pound bag of garden tone at Home Depot for $28, which has to be the cheapest price that I've seen on fertilizer anywhere. So if you are interested in a larger quantity, go ahead and grab that. It's a really good deal. It's about $1 a pound, which is amazing. So anyway, we're going to take out all of the winter mulch. I've used pine bedding, animal bedding. So we're going to take the excess out of this. You do want some mulch in here to control moisture over the summer and also to keep the berries and the plants off of the dirt to help prevent some of the dirt-related diseases. But we do need to clean some of it out because right now they're kind of buried. I'd like to welcome you to my backyard Kentucky homestead. My name is Kim. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And if you like this content, please give me a thumbs up. I will have a code below in the description if you're interested in purchasing a GreenStalk. I did just see in an email this morning that they are coming out with a basket weave texture on their new GreenStalks. They looked really nice. I'll have to check into that a little bit more. But using my code below, you can save $10 off of $75 purchase. That will also stack with any sales that they may have. So keep that in mind. And again, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do to work on these is I'm going to take each tier apart because I want to be able to access the center of it and make sure that all of the extra pine bedding that I use, the animal pine bedding, is gone. We will keep some of that, but we do want to remove most of it. And probably what I will do actually is replace it with brand new, and I'll put this in the bottom of one of the garden beds, the raised beds that I'm at. Okay, so let me show you how I set these up for the winter, especially for the top layer. I put a really good thick coating of the pine bark mulch. So I'm going to remove most of this, but these just stack on top of each other. Take this one off. And then each of the layers each level has one of these watery trays. It does have little pinholes, small holes all the way around, and those need to line up with each of the compartments within the GreenStalk. So I'm going to go ahead and take this apart, and then we will get to updating it. So two things I forgot to mention. I'm going to also add some worm castings, which is basically just worm poop. It'll help enrich the soil. And then I'm also going to add a liquid fertilizer, the tomato Spoma. It's a 222, I believe, and also a little bit of fish fertilizer, which is more nitrogen. It's a 511, just to give them a little bit of immediate boost. This and the Spoma powder will take a little while to absorb into the ground and for the micronutrients to actually be able to uptake it. So we want to give them a little bit to go ahead and get started with right away. So this is the top layer. We'll grow back here to put the debris in. I'm going to go ahead and take all the pine bedding off so that we can see what we have below. And I did find on one of my other GreenStalks that I've already worked on, I had to raise the plants up a little bit. So what we will probably do is go underneath, lift them up, tuck some dirt underneath just so that they're a little higher. And these plants are 1 year old. Strawberry plants are usually very productive in their first year 2, 3, and maybe 4. And at that point, you need to either consider replacing them or making sure each year that you are rerouting some of the runners that come off of that, because they will only last, as this plant here will only last up to maybe 4 years before their production drops way, way off. But with any garden bed, some of the dirt will be absorbed by the plants and some of it runs out with the water that just overflows. So one of the really neat things about the GreenStalk is that you just use the top layer, pour the water, there's a line in there for how hide it, fill it up. So usually you fill it up once. You can sometimes fill it up twice. It will run down through the center, catches in these pans, and again goes out to each of these units. They also have drain holes, and so they won't get too waterlogged. And then there's a drain at the very bottom layer, so there won't be a pooling of water within the GreenStalk. So it makes for healthy plants. It's really great for strawberries, also really good for herbs, but pretty much leafy greens. I've seen people grow all kinds of things. Last year, one of the ones I put a lot of flowers in, petunias, gazania, quite a bit of other flower. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that one. I do have some more seascape strawberries. I'm just going to lift this up a little bit. It's very well rooted in here, so I'm not going to put too hard on it. But a lot of these are seascape. Some are the honeyway. Just tuck that down underneath. And there may be a few others. I had fairly bad luck first of the season last year. A lot of the plants I got didn't make it. So I replaced them with seascape, which are a ever-bearing strawberry, and they were delicious. I was getting strawberries into November last year, well past our first frost. I'm also going to add a little bit more to the center. Just make sure that they are well tucked in. They have plenty of nutrients to pull from. So what I'm using is a Whitney Farm organic potting mix that I got from Walmart. OMRI tested or listed. So it is organic. I used this last year. Had really, really good luck with it. So I'm using it again this year for any food crop. For flowers that are not edible, I am going to use the cheaper Walmart potting mix, just to save a little money. I mean, it's all good. Whatever you can afford is fine. It's just one little extra step towards keeping things clean and healthy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just get the rest of these layers together, and then I will put it back together. And I'm choosing to use my hands to do this instead of a trowel, just so that I have a better feel with how hard I am pulling on the roots below, because there is a little bit of snapping I can feel down there. I don't want to do too much to it, just to make sure they stay healthy and alive. Okay, make sure the crowns are clear. Put a little bit of the worm casting. And if you're using any kind of fertilizer, you really want to be outside using it. It does have a very, very strong odor to it, and you don't want to breathe that in or breathe in the dust from it. So this is not available nutrient, or is not available immediately to the plant. It will take a month or so for it to break down and become available. So once this is back together, we'll go ahead and add some liquid fertilizer. Okay, so see, this one here is way, way above. The crown is actually right about here. So this is a little bit too far out of the dirt, so we'll get that buried up a little bit because your roots are like right here, so they're exposed right now. Here's another one that's too high. The root is way out of the soil. So once the runners are established, their roots are grounded, then they can go ahead and disconnect them from the mother plant. And that is part of how you can keep your strawberries going on indefinitely, is from those runners. Those runners are considered brand new plants, so they have that 4-year lifespan ahead of them. Okay. So we got some roots here, we have roots there, some roots there, a little bit there. So we've got to lift them up, but we also want to put a little bit more soil around the plant. So I've decided to go ahead and transplant a couple of these starts that were towards the center. And I just wanted to show you where the crown is. It's right here. So you have your root, your base, and this is where the plant grows out. So you want your dirt to be right there at the top of the root structure. And I am going to transplant. I had a couple of holes that were empty, so I'm going to transplant a few of these into those pockets. I have all my layers amended, and I'm getting ready to put them back together. This is my bottom layer. And what I want to do is put a little bit of this pine wood pet bedding on there. Not as much as I did for winter, but just a little bit, just to keep the moisture level consistent. You want to be careful that you don't bury the crown. Then we're going to take this and we're going to make sure that each of these holes is pointed towards the center of one of the pockets. Let's put that on there, push it down. And then we'll just stack the rest of them just like that. And I do have a spinner, or not a spinner, I have the base that has the rollers on it, so I am able to turn it, which is a good idea because the sun in my yard comes this way to that way, so the north facing portion of the GreenStalk doesn't get as much sun. So I am able to rotate these every day or two to make sure all of the plants are getting enough sun. Thank you guys for joining me. We have this GreenStalk set and ready to go for spring. I'm waiting for strawberries. It shouldn't be too long. There's actually quite a bit more growth than I realized in there. So these are ready to go for spring. So if you are new here and haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. This helped you be interested in growing strawberries. It's one of the earliest producing fruits that you can grow. And the seascape, amazing. Like I said, I had strawberries. Even in their first year, I picked off the blooms until July. And then the rest of the year, I just let them go. And I had strawberries probably a few every day until November. So until we had an actual hard freeze, I was actually still getting strawberries. So if you're not growing strawberries, please consider it. It's very, very simple. You don't have to have a big GreenStalk. In a future video, I'm going to use a Mr. Stacky, which is similar but smaller, and also the Dollar Tree ones, which are also, stackable, but they're even smaller. So I'm going to do a comparison between the three. So watch out for that video coming up here in a few weeks. So again, thank you for joining me. And if you are new and haven't subscribed, please do so and give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.